The strongest leaders are not the ones who have everything figured out. They are the ones who keep growing through every season. Today, Tisha Winfield shares what she's learned after a year filled with unexpected changes, difficult decisions, and surprising opportunities. We discuss protecting your peace, redefining success, and why choosing a different path is not failure, it is wisdom. Stay with us. Do you want to fully step into your calling and live out your God inspired vision, but lack the right people and resources to help you? Hi, I'm Nicole Pride, personal branding strategist, leadership coach, and Christian. I learned the secret to advancing big leadership goals and attracting new opportunities is through intentionally elevating your personal brand. If you're ready to step into greater impact without losing your peace, then grab a protein bar, your iPad, and let's go. So I'm super thrilled to welcome back Tisha Winfield. Last time, Tisha shared how she coped with the transition of her sons leaving for college and was beginning to focus on herself, wanting to explore her interests and desires, and also to obtain some spiritual clarity. So today, we'll dive deeper into her journey and find out just where Tisha is today. So, welcome, Tisha. We're so excited to have you here today.
Thank you, Nicole, and thanks for having me.
Great. So, Tisha, since you were here the last time, you talked about the realization that you had that once both your boys left, you just really put it all into work. Like you went in hard with work. And after some reflection, you realized that that was really your coping mechanism. And at that time, you were really looking forward to focusing on yourself. So now here we are. I looked back at the footage. It said 11 months ago. So we're nearly a year later.
I was going to ask you how long ago was that?
I know. It's almost a year later. And just for our viewers, let's just give them some background about your family. So, how many children do you have? Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, I have two boys, as you mentioned, young men now.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
and and they we live together with my husband, and then my mom lives here, and then of course Winnie, as who you know is our dog, our
Can't
COVID
forget Winnie.
pup, our COVID pup. I do have two older stepdaughters, but they are grown and like have been grown. So like um, it's really this last couple years have been a household of five and trying to just like navigate through all of the different challenges that come up of like just being a family in under one roof.
And so, Jalen, your oldest, correct? Right?
Yes.
And so Jalen graduated from school, right? And
Yes.
how long has he been graduated?
Yeah, so it'll be 2 years
Two.
in May. So like that time went by fast as well. Um, and Amir, the youngest, is a junior?
Junior.
Is a junior. Wow. I'm like, I was thinking, like, wait, he's a junior in college. That went by really fast. That I think went by faster than it seems like with Jalen's journey through college.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what it feels like for me.
Right. Probably the second time around goes quicker.
Yes, I think you have less worries than the first
Oh,
time.
that's interesting, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now you have, as you said, young men who, they're grown.
Yes.
And so what does that mean for you, Tisha? Like, where are you now? So before, you were kind of excited, like, okay, I've gotten used to this concept that my kids or young men are no longer in the home. And now it's time to shift the focus back on Tisha. And so tell us, what has that been like for you?
Yeah, it's interesting that I thought that I would be able to define it, right? Like, what does it mean to be an empty nester? What does it mean that your kids are now outside of the house and like you don't have to think about like the daily routines that you normally had.
Mhm.
And I think if I'm being honest, I put probably too much emphasis on that in the beginning,
Mm.
not
What does
knowing,
that mean?
meaning that you don't know what life is going to bring you, right? So, like,
Oh, okay.
you can say, like, yes, as soon as they leave, they're not coming back. I'm gonna tour the world.
Yeah.
I'm going to like maybe go for this promotion at my job. Like I'll put all my efforts in one place or different areas. But for me, like specifically, that turned really quick. Like it was like after I think like we were talking like you know you said 11 months ago, so probably
Yeah.
Jalen had just graduated or was about to graduate, um,
Mm.
and had his own apartment in Philadelphia,
Mhm.
but made the decision to come back home, and I supported him so that he can save money for a year. So, like, instantly, that empty nester was like that change.
Right.
Um,
But you know what? And that is you're not alone in that. So that is a
Very
trend.
true.
I think they call it like boomerang syndrome or boomerang something or another. They come
Mhm.
back, right? And
Yes.
so like the likelihood of your kids not returning home after college is slim for a lot of parents
Mhm.
because are they really equipped financially to live out on their own? Sometimes too, they may want to go on to graduate level of education, and so they come back in a lot of
Yes.
cases.
Exactly, but you don't think about that, I don't think, like, when you think about, like, you're sending them off to college and, like, this is they're starting their own life, right? Like, so,
Mhm,
like, even though for me, like, knowing that he always has a home and has some place to come back to,
mhm.
I didn't think about, like, yeah, he'll take you up on that offer.
I love it. Yep, yeah, yep. Be careful what you say.
Exactly, but no, it was great, it was actually a great time to have him here because, like, it is such a different dynamic when you have adult children,
Mhm,
and so, like, with him coming back into the home, it was more of, like, we would have, conversations on different subjects that what he cared about and trying to understand more about, like, his journey, and just, like, connecting in a different way,
mhm.
that was outside of, like, the mother-son dynamic of, like, "I need to guide you and tell you what to do."
Right. And I think that could be encouraging for a lot of moms who are just going through like the drop off and they are, maybe slightly depressed even. There's hope that
Yes.
that relationship will continue. And from what I hear you saying, and what I'm experiencing with my oldest as well, is that it's different, you know.
Mhm.
I know I find it pretty cool just to see the person that he's evolving into and being able to have a different level of conversation than in the past. So yeah, I'm really digging that part. So
Yes. It
mm,
is it is so rewarding. It is very, like, inspirational, and then also, like, it also is informative, right? Like, they have a different view of, like, how life worked from when we were that age, right? Like, even
mhm,
though we can make some comparisons and we can say, like, been there, done that, like I know how it is to be able to balance going out to parties and to do schoolwork or having a job and do schoolwork. Like how they are navigating it is different.
mhm,
And I'm able to learn from their experiences as well. And just like in how I navigate my own life sometimes, right? Like to say,
mhm.
like, yeah, you still have these challenges, and it's a reminder to say, wait, but how do we put things in perspective?
Yeah, yeah. I hear you. And I think even just yes, their own unique perspective on issues. So I know that my oldest son has a different view and expectation when it comes to work culture, Well, what does that lifestyle look like? His perspective is different on politics, so it's just the conversations are very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely are.
So that's great. So it sounds like, you and well, what about your youngest? So your oldest is a little more mature, sounds like mature conversation. And so what about your youngest who is still growing, he's still maturing, developing, but yet he is not the high schooler anymore. So what's that like with him?
Yeah, this I will say by far has been the most, how do you say, like, how I hate to say, like, that he wasn't mature before, but, like, to see, like, that shift in maturity in this year, in his junior year,
Mhm.
has, like, been it's leaps and bounds from where he
Mhm.
was even in his first 2 years of college, right?
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
that maturity level of, like, how he's thinking about what's next,
Mm,
to think about, like, "Am I taking the right classes? How do I think about, what I'm doing now and how it impacts my future?" To explore different understandings of spirituality and
mm,
religion and
mhm,
understand how to interact with people in the world. When we last spoke and I talked about where he went, and he ended up going to Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia, and I'm like, why would you go so far? Like, and
mhm,
then also where, it is somewhat of a shift, right? And like who your surroundings and the students that you're interacting with. Um,
mhm,
but I also think that was probably the best decision that he could have made,
mm.
because he has his voice. He's found his voice.
Oh,
He knows like what he wants to be involved with. He's part of the Black Men of Excellence group there at Virginia Tech. He's
mhm.
a student ambassador. Like so, like I while I thought like, okay, there'll be some challenges there. It's like, he's going off to college by himself, worried like if he party too much, like all those things
Yes,
that
all
you
those
worry
mom
about with your baby
concerns. Yeah.
boy. Like it's great to see that shift this year.
Okay, so that's cool. So it sounds like things are pretty much going well with their relationship with you and your sons. So now let's focus back on Tisha.
Yes.
And so what did you do with your newfound time? I think the last time you're exploring a new interest was like ceramics. So how has the self-exploration journey, how has that gone for you?
It's still in exploratory mode.
Yeah,
Like, which I
sure.
think is fine though. Like, I think,
Yeah.
like, when I started this chapter, like, I wanted so much around definition to figure out, like, what's next for Tisha,
Hmm.
um, where I'm enjoying, like, the fact that I have the freedom to explore, that I
Hmm.
can, like, try ceramics and say, like, "Oh, I really enjoy this, but, yeah, it also means cutting my nails, and I don't wanna cut my nails to have to do that."
I love it.
Um, but then,
Yeah.
like, exploring other things and saying, like, like, just something as simple as, like, going for walks and hiking and just, like, saying, like, "Okay, do I like nature? Do I like being outdoors when you're not sitting at a soccer field?"
Yeah.
Uh, so, like, and sitting with the wind
Right.
at your skin. Um, but yeah, so, like, I'm just when I do find time to do things outside of the house, I'm just trying new things. But there's still responsibilities there, right? Like, so still working a full-time job, still trying to figure out how to manage that work-life balance, which seems more like work-life integration nowadays. Like that's the trend.
Mm,
And also, with my mother being here and helping to take care of her. So now, like, it's now a shift and how I look at things and how I find time for myself to do the things that, I want to do and have yet to do.
I mean, you said so much in that response. One, I totally wholeheartedly agree that what self-exploration never ends, right? Or it shouldn't end. It's not like you say, "Oh, I found myself and I will stay that way for the rest of my life." Like we're constantly growing, evolving, and my perspective is that God keeps taking you to another level and another level as long as you're alive. So, I think that the fact that you have the space, to be able to do that and is allowing you that process to do that is super cool because people don't do that. They don't give themselves the permission to really reflect and explore. They don't make the time, they don't prioritize themselves to do that. So I think that's awesome, Tisha. And so, what ha but I do wanna acknowledge that the nails being a deal breaker is hilarious. It's
I'm
hilarious.
telling you, because like, yeah, I don't know if you ever done ceramics before.
Like
And
grade
you know,
school.
like I love like, being able to mold and shape the clay. But every time I would try to mold it, like my nails would like go into it, like break off the clay. And my instructor was like, "You probably should cut your nails." I was just like, I don't know about that one there.
Mhm. Yeah. Love it. So, okay, and then the other thing that you mentioned, which is real and very real for a lot of folks, particularly in our age, is that being in the sandwich generation, right? And so you have kids, but then you have aging parents, and it's almost like a trade-off, right? And so now your son's a little bit more independent. Doesn't mean that they don't need you at all anymore.
Right.
Um, but now you have increasing responsibility caring for an older parent. And so how have you coped with that?
Yeah, it's a journey in itself, right? Like it's figuring out how best to navigate with the new dynamic, right? Like, as you start your life, right? And then as you start to become adulthood, the mother is the one that's guiding you, that's providing for you. And there's starting to be a shift where it's like, okay, I need to now help to care for her, to provide for her, and but still understand where she came from, where she got me to, and that she still has the independence and wherewithal to make decisions for herself.
Sure.
Um, so it is like you said, like it's a responsibility in providing for someone, but not the same as you would as a caretaker for your children.
Right.
So understanding that was very important as we entered this new phase of our lives.
Mm. And so do you find that now you've you're in that role and you have that change in the relationship a little bit with your mom that it's actually driving you more to make the most of your life and explore your interests more? Are you inspired to do that more?
I don't know if I'd say that I'm inspired more to explore my interests as I am in protecting my peace
Mhm.
and my time for um, healing, for making sure I'm taking care of myself mentally, physically, spiritually. Um, and I think like that's for me has like been the highest priority is like, how are you feeling today, Tisha? Like how does that look? Like how are you feeling about the day?
Mm. Yeah, that peace, that's real. And that is so important because there are so many peace stealers out there, whether it's work, whether it's watching the news, just
Yes.
living.
Yes.
Just living, right? And so, how do you get to that point where you're like, I will not forfeit my peace? Like, where does that come from? Because so many people are anxious, so many people are frustrated, and they're like in this crazy race to do different things and they lose their peace in the process. So what's your secret in maintaining your peace?
Yeah, I think I've tried a couple of different things, honestly.
Mhm.
But I think like for me, the first part is around being okay to sit in it, where to sit with your feelings of like if in that moment you're angry about like what's happening around you, like the news, right? Like if in that
Mhm.
one moment you just are just like aggravated and annoyed about what you're hearing and seeing, like it's okay, and then to let it go. Right. So to be like and not be apologetic about it, right? So like in that moment, if you feel anger, it's okay. If you feel sadness in that moment, it's okay. And then to let it go and just like give yourself grace, give yourself the space to say, I needed that. I need to sit with those feelings
Mhm.
so that can move forward, so I can go about my responsibilities, so I can create new space
Mhm.
for other things that may need to come in.
I mean, this sounds so spiritually mature and so like where all this come from? Tell us. Like
It
where
was a look, it was a journey over these last 11 months, because, like,
um
like we said, like, I really thought I had defined what this would look like.
mm,
And there were so many different, I don't wanna say hurdles, but different, like, jumping points? I don't know what you wanna call them, but just, like, challenges
yeah,
and different opportunities that I didn't think would be, um, put in front of me.
that mean different opportunities.
So the opportunity to be able to have a place for Jalen in the house again. The opportunity
Okay.
to have a different role at my job, which didn't include leadership. Um,
Mhm.
we talked about like before how I started to put, like all my eggs in that work basket. Um,
Mhm.
and I thought that I had to explore the opportunity of leadership at the next level, right? Like to
Mhm.
say, well,
To climb
this
the
is
ladder higher.
yes,
Mhm.
to keep climbing that ladder and say like, well, this
Mhm.
is what you've been working for. You now have the opportunity to do it because you have the space. You don't have the kids in the home. So now you have that opportunity to keep going up. And then realizing that that's not the opportunity that I want to be presented with at this time, and just choosing another door.
So I really like how you talked about the last year was a combination of challenges and opportunities, right? So you've had some things that were obstacles that you had to overcome. And sounds like, through it all, like you said, peace was your priority. And so you maintain your peace. And then also unexpected opportunities, I'll say blessings, have come into your life. So the fact that Jalen did return home and you were able to experience like this deeper new relationship with him. And the like the opportunity that you mentioned with work where you're not as consumed with work because you chose to take a different role. And I think because some, like I said, climbing the corporate ladder is a goal for folks, but you having a true understanding about what's most important for you, and you're like, my lifestyle that I want. And for me to have true peace and happiness means I need to change into a different role
That
and had the
part.
courage to do that.
Yep.
That could be scary for folks. Because in cases like that, it could mean um less money, or it could mean, on the job, they're not perceived in the same way and people can't handle that, you
Yes.
know? I recall back when I decided to leave New York City and working, and I was at a certain salary, and I went back to Jersey, Central Jersey, to work and took a huge cut. I just mentioned this. I was interviewed on a podcast. It's called Drastic Results. And they were like, what's the most drastic thing you did? And that was
Mhm.
taking a $30,000 pay cut. And it was not easy. There was definitely an adjustment my husband and I had to make.
Yeah.
And it was a little rough in the beginning, but, yeah, we got through that, but the trade-offs were so worth it,
Mhm.
just to be present during that time, when my son was younger, and then eventually I caught up on the salary with different other roles, that came to me later on. So I am happy for you that you've been able to navigate all of that. What would you say to people who they're going through this adjustment period in their lives? They may be dealing with, the blues of not having their kids around as much. They may feel kind of lost, like who are they? What advice would you share with them?
Um, I think two pieces of advice. One, make sure you have support around you so that if you need to talk something through, if you need to share in those feelings, whether or not it's a spiritual advisor, if it's a therapist, or even just like your friend group.
Mhm.
Like I think for me that was so important and it's so helpful, like in therapy sessions and understand like all the things that you just talked about, like that was only done through understanding what I valued, right? Like what
Mm,
was important to me.
mhm.
And I
And so
hadn't
you're
done that
saying
work.
therapy helped you with that.
Yes,
See, I
therapy
knew
helped
you
me with that
sound
too.
really mature about all.
Yes, it was a whole year of therapy. Yes,
You just
so
come out of thin air, people. You need therapy. No.
yes, so yeah, I would advocate and advise for, therapy, spiritual guidance, anything you
Yeah.
need to help you to be able to work through your thoughts.
Mhm.
And the second part that I think is important is that you reckon it's okay. It's
Mhm.
okay not to have all the answers. Like how I just mentioned, it's okay if you
Mm,
just need to like sit with where you are and make adjustments, right? Like give yourself the grace to say like, oh, I thought I wanted to do this, but it really isn't.
mhm,
Like when I mentioned about work, at first, like when I first made the decision to say like, I don't want to be at this level,
mhm,
it was hard to deal with for myself, right? Like, because, like, I put these expectations on myself to
mhm,
say, "No, this is what you've been working for," like, and everyone's around you is cheering for you, like, I was taken out to dinner to celebrate,
mm,
this new role,
mhm,
um, and I was there until that first I was like, "I'm about to let people down. I'm about to
mm,
let myself down because, like, this is what you've been working for." And after doing the work in the therapy sessions and really thinking about like my values and what I cared about, I was like,
mhm,
it's okay.
mhm,
It really is okay that you made the decision for yourself
mhm.
to change course.
Yeah, I think that's so awesome. One, that understanding your values piece is so key because every other decision comes about through your values,
Yeah.
right? And so, being really clear about what your non-negotiables are is just really paramount to you having peace and happiness. And
Yeah.
so, can you tell us how did you find the right therapist? How did you know that the therapist that you had or continue to use is the right person for you?
Well, when I first started looking, the most important thing was someone who I could connect with.
Mhm.
So for me, it needed to be a Black woman.
Mhm.
Um, And then, as I started my journey again, interviewing, or, because pretty much you're interviewing them, to see,
Mhm.
like, is the right person for you to help you through your journey?
Mhm.
Um, it was just the how comfortable I felt in
Mhm.
sharing and opening up,
Mhm.
and that I was willing to do the work that she was giving me.
Mhm.
So, like, I was connected, and it was the timing was right too, right? Like, I think it's important to, like, is the timing right for therapy for you? Because, like, a lot of people try this and they'll say, "Oh, therapy didn't work for me. I tried it." And it might have been that at that point in time, they weren't ready for therapy. Or
Mhm.
they might not have find the right match because they just went with the first person who someone told them about.
Mhm.
So it is really about, like, how comfortable you feel in opening up and
Mhm.
exploring what your thoughts are, do the work that they give you and that you're working through together.
Yes. So, yes, I what I hear you saying is you have to be ready for therapy because if you're resistant to the process, it's not going to work, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just for our viewers who may be of different persuasion, just to give a little bit more context by why you wanted a Black therapist, just to give some deeper understanding to that.
Yes. So some of the challenges that I was going through was really connected to who I was as a Black woman. Um,
Mhm.
Especially, like, for two main areas, I would say. One, navigating in a workplace that is predominantly white,
Mhm.
um, where there's predominantly male centric, in just like in the industry, right, that I'm
Mhm.
in.
Mhm.
Um, and then the other part of it is that as I was trying to adjust to being a caregiver and understanding, like, what it means to be my version of a caregiver and the responsibilities as a Black woman and as a Black child, I think, like, you may be able to relate that we have expectations that has been put on us as far as, like, our culture.
Mhm.
So understanding that, this is what you're supposed to do as a Black daughter.
I hear you.
Um, and so, like, that was important for me too, to be able to someone who understands the culture, understand, like, how to navigate through our beliefs growing up, and how to figure out, like, which one of those beliefs do I want to continue with, and which ones
Right.
are separate now that am, am defined who I am as an individual.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you. Yeah. And it's helpful not to have to explain it
Yes.
when you're going through that process of unpacking emotional issues and dealing with spiritual questions and all those things. Okay, so that's great. So I would say um, at this point, what I'm hearing from you is that, you seem to be adjusting well in the process, and you sound very hopeful and expectant of growth and development and all that. Is that a true statement?
Yes. Yes. And definitely, I think the other part is, like, I'm okay without having definition behind that, right? Like,
Mhm.
I think that for me is, like, has been, like, that weight lifted off my shoulders, like, the expectations that I always had with me of, like, you have to know
Mhm.
what's next. You have to define your why, define your purpose.
Mhm.
Um, and so, like, letting go of that
Mhm.
has
Mhm.
really been helpful too.
Yeah. I always say, because I have a program that helps women identify their purpose when they're ready to do that. And I always say that really I could tell you. I feel it's my belief that everyone's purpose is the same and bottom line, it's to help others. Um, I the biblical basis for that is where Jesus says to love God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul, and to love others as you love yourself. And I have the program where I help women live out their divine purpose from a biblical perspective. So that's the basis for that. but that looks different. Right, it doesn't look the same for everybody.
Yeah.
So based on your gifts and your talents and your lived experiences, the way that you live out your purpose is gonna be very unique to each individual. But, women, but everyone can let go of some of that angst of what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? But it's really to let God's power that's in you get released out and help others. And so yeah, so that's
Such
just
a good point
um,
though,
yeah.
right? Like I never thought about it like that because like when I think about defining my purpose, I don't think of it as simple as like helping others like can be your purpose. It has to be added to it, right? Like how you just said, my purpose is to help, empty nesters or women through a spiritual lens, biblical lens. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't have that like that mission, right? Like that clear mission statement and vision. Um, and so to take that out and just say, yeah, you do know your purpose.
Mhm.
And that can change and evolve. I think it's important.
Yeah, that comes through what you're doing now. So that's actually one of the modules is doing this self-exploration about what your interests are, what your experiences are. So the thing is, the purpose that we've been given and the way that we live out that purpose was given to you by design, by the great architect, right? God. And so that never goes away. Like it's always there. Like you can't
Mhm,
lose it. You can't get rid of it. You can't break it. It's there. It may be dormant because you're not in it fully, but it's there and sometimes you do need an awakening. And so um we're all given spiritual gifts, so your gifts look different than mine. And then just like anything, once you start to use it, you start to develop it and then it gets more clear, but that only happens through you taking a first step. And you're at the beginning stages, you're on your journey, but
mhm,
you do have to be conscious, right? And so here are some tips that I give women. Just even just take some time to even think about childhood. Think about what your interests were at that level before you had concerns about the mortgage, before you had children. And if you can recall some of those moments that were high points for you in your life, and then even now, just think about the things that energize you, that get you excited, even the things that make you angry and frustrated, because that all informs you about your purpose. Like, why do certain issues or topics move you so strongly and passionately? Why, do you find something comical or, just really just pay attention, and start to document those things and then start to move in those areas, right? So if you
mhm,
find that there's a certain issue, topic, organization, mission, whatever it may be that, like I said, energizes you, motivates you, inspires you, move in that direction, take a step.
yeah,
And the more that you do, and the more the people you're connected with, because God wants you to live out your purpose. And so God is not hiding it from you. But when you take the step and look for it and become conscious about it, you'll see how you're being set up, literally set up to live in that purpose. So, yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So,
it
with
will.
that, Tisha, how about we conclude our conversation with you finishing this statement? So, 12 months from now, I hope to
You put me on this,
well, it kind of goes against everything you just said because you're just like, hey, I'm
right?
cool with not figuring it out. But it didn't not necessarily mean to like do something specifically. Like
Yes.
experience could be like, how do you want to feel? Um, or just leave me with your own statement then if you don't like that one.
Oh, it's so funny
Well,
because
how about this? 12 months from now, what do you want to be grateful for?
it's so funny because, like, I was preparing for this because I was like, I know Nicole, she's gonna come at me with like, leave me with this. And I still am not like, okay, what is that one word? You can tell from this interview that I talk a lot. But anyway, so 12 months from now,
Mhm.
the only thing that comes to mind is living, and I know like that it doesn't mean like that I'm alive, right? Like in 12 months I want to be alive. Uh
Listen, that
that part, yes. But
we'll
more than
take that. We'll take that. And, we're laughing, but there are so many heavy issues. So that,
yes.
for some of you, if you're just trying to cope and you're just like, I want to be alive, we feel you. We understand. And there's no
Mhm.
judgment there. But
But
I
it's
hear,
living, right? Like, because like, and I always like, I hear my mom in the back of my head, and she keeps saying, she'll say, keep living. But like she'll say, like, keep living, and like you'll experience the things that I'm seeing, or like you'll understand why I say what I say or what I do. But
oh,
I think of it more of like keep living,
mm,
keep doing, keep
mhm.
thinking about what's next, keep exploring, like just keep living.
Yeah.
I think that's for me, is like what I want to be doing 12 months from now. Like even if I haven't defined my purpose, like finish your modules, that at least I can say that I am still living.
Yeah, I feel you. I love that. What I hear is, have a curiosity for life and explore that curiosity. Be curious, experience things. Just keep living. I love it.
That's right.
Oh, well, thank you for being here. I so appreciate you sharing and opening up. You just have a beautiful spirit. I
Oh,
love
thank
you.
you.
So thank you, thank you, thank you for this. And that concludes our episode, folks. Thank you. Bye. Hey, ambitious leader. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share with another leader who you want to encourage? Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. I just get so energized to know this podcast is helping you. Okay, I'm going to take one step today to let my leadership shine. What about you? God willing, meet you back next week for another episode.